Can I run a rant on purely a single sentence? Let's find out. Donald Trump's in the headlines again, and as usual, it's because of sinister and criminal activity. What, you mean the corrupt deep state who are evidently terrified of him being president again? Hey, get the fuck out. You lot put him in the news cycle. The Gestapo of the Democrats raid his house in a matter that only the most blind head-up-ass partisan wouldn't think is a political hit job. Heaven's sake, a half-hour warning, attorney not being allowed to view the raid, being told to turn off the cameras, rummaging through his wife's wardrobe, cracking his safe lock, all of this lasting more than 9 hours with a warrant we weren't allowed to initially see. Only after the raid were we told it's about nuclear secrets, which apparently the FBI claims Trump had 4 months, which no one believes, a claim that utterly loses all of its weight when we find out that the FBI was there before, some months ago, and Trump complied without a hitch. If you suspected this prior, how and why the hell does it take you more than a year only to raid his house instead of asking him for this apparently national security threatening information? This whole timeline makes no freaking sense whatsoever. By all rights, if you look at the circumstances and variables involved in this affair, and you think this is a totally above-the-board, by-the-book standard procedure, society should by all rights be able to legally deem you mentally handicapped. I am repeatedly blown away by the left's sheer lack of any objective standard. I'm not at all surprised by the left are the party of the mentally ill, because if you just stuck with the left, you will undoubtedly lose your mind. And I mean that sincerely. I don't mean that as some kind of villainous caricature. Here's an example, right? Remember when Trump wanted Zelensky to investigate the corruption of the Bidens because of the damn family ties to Biden and the Ukraine that stretches back to years before Trump was even in office? And this was all done before Biden said he was running for president. And then the laptop of hell surfaced after the crackhead turned it in at a repair shop or some shit, and the media wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole and labeled it Russian disinformation, which was code fucking common sense for it's obviously real. Then, months down the line, we learn, oh, it's real. Well, thanks for the obvious there, you slow-witted dunderheads. A situation through which we might draw some conclusions. A, the FBI knew it was real and are totally in the tank for the Democratic Party, which is obviously true. I mean, think logically. How can you call it Russian disinformation if you did not know the contents of the laptop? Bit of common sense. So they sat on it 4 months and said nothing and doing absolutely nothing. Or B, let's hypothetically say they were combing through it all to make sure it was legit. That would mean their initial claim of Russian disinformation was a lie. And they took months to apparently come to the conclusion that the contents of the laptop was legit. So it must have been pretty damaging for the Bidens for them to initially claim it was the so-called Russian disinformation. You would think if they did spend months combing through all of this information to make sure it was legit, a strong criminal case should be by all rights be made against the Bidens. But no, the FBI haven't said or done a damn thing. So given all of that, there is no possible conclusion that doesn't show the FBI to be either some combination of corrupt, liars, or selective in who they do or do not choose to prosecute. And yet the idiots wonder why people think there's a two-tier justice system. I mean, hell, I'm not some kind of a genius or political wizard. I can infer this just for some basic analytics. And then the most criminal case of all is not that no one in the media or the FBI is held responsible for any of this bullshit, is that no one wants to apologize to Trump because, as usual, he was right on the freaking money. Or that Zelensky, who has turned into this ridiculously overblown symbol of democracy, and Putin is this horrible dictatorial autocrat, used the crisis of the war to go full autocrat mode himself and ban the opposition party, all in the name of cracking down on division. And several countries as well outlawed Russia today. So in order to save so-called democracy, we must suspend democracy. And did anyone in the left media circles point any of this shit out? Nope. Radio silence. Because as it turns out, the entire BS war has been used for money laundering, and the relationship between Zelensky and the White House is a lot more frayed than the media wants to let on. So much so that Zelensky is actually trying to engage in talks with China, Russia's biggest ally, to help end the war. This is a thing. This is the timeline we're in, people. Then I see James Carville saying the majority of the GOP are stupid and evil. Racism is evil, misogyny is evil. And then he talks about pronouns and veganism, don't ask, it doesn't make any sense. And that the left has this 11% or so of hyper-educated, totally doofus coastal elites that has come to define the party. And yet the Republican Party does not pay a price for the so-called 65% of them who don't believe in evolution. First off, James, that 11% are the fucking doofus retards who push your party's policies, whereas the Republican 65% who believe in religion, I will bet you, will push saner policies than those who believe in evolution, yet can't define female, and yet want more females to be in positions of power, which makes no fucking sense, and peddle the Rainbow Coalition's drag queen story hour crap. You decry the stupid woke crap as what's the problem, and yet you dismiss the pronouns as nothing when that's the identifying signature of said stupid woke crap. Secondly, Republicans are stupid and evil? Really? You're saying the exact same thing that Clinton did in her 2016 shtick with her basket of deplorables comment. You're supposed to be a Democratic strategist. Are you honestly so stupid, so dense, so fucking deluded and completely insane that you legitimately believe that Donald Trump, who got more votes in 2020 with every demographic except white men, did so through racism and sexism? Do you honestly fucking believe racism and sexism powers an economy and puts food on the family's table? Really? You know what's astonishing? You know that phrase, it's the economy, stupid? James is the guy that coined that phrase. What the fucking hell is wrong with you people? Or just the veneration of Cheney after she got mauled in Wyoming with these imbecilic media personalities crawling out the woodwork saying, oh, this is a great loss for democracy. Dude, democracy is what kicked her fucking ass. How does a family whose fortunes were built on bloody war money, who was reviled, hated, derided as being evil for being warmongering assholes, suddenly attain reverence because they're against Trump, who is no one? What the fuck has Trump done to earn such ire? I do not understand this. Someone find me a psychologist who I can sit down with and have them explain to me how one man can make so many people just seemingly sever ties with objective reality. How does one man make so many people go pew and just shut off? Yeah, I can't understand these people are just fucking lunatics.